Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show. Amanda, are you mad at me for looking away at the last second? I've never done that in all the years.
I know.
In all the years, it's the first time. I decided it was one of my last chances to do it, so I just did it. You know, what do we got? We got 6 shows left, but
yeah, 6. You're right.
Math still gets you, doesn't it?
It's so hard.
It just can't get you. I understand you're a woman, and it's difficult. Work with me.
I've been thinking that it's a day ahead all week, so we're here, and it's obviously our Wednesday crew, but I've been thinking it's Thursday all day.
It's the way when Levi's here, it's Wednesday.
I know.
That's the only way I know what day it is. I look at who's on the show.
I know.
At my age, I can't remember dates and times.
I'm medicated. I'm confused.
Look, we've got an amazing show for you. One of my favorite guests is back.
Yay.
I saw him at an amazing event, Good Friday, last week, and I'm like, we got to get you back on.
I heard you were checking him out. That's just what I heard. I heard that you
allegedly, there's a rumor going around that I started that he has a really cool leg tattoo, and it's below the knee. So don't get excited, everybody. It's below the knee. It is. It's a great tattoo. It's awesome. And I was like, I really like the artwork. So, and then I realized it's my good friend. So yes. I stopped at the knee. I told you it wasn't creepy.
You don't normally check him out from behind.
I didn't. I really didn't. But I was like, man, I thought about it. I said, if I had a calf that good looking, I would want that.
Something told me to look left.
Yeah.
He got that uneasy feeling.
It was stranger danger until he realized it was just danger. And he was like, okay.
Like Mike.
All those years of special forces, he knew. He knew.
Spidey senses are changing.
Yes.
Red flag.
I got this. Ricky, welcome back, man.
What's up, man? How
We're
you doing?
so glad to have you back on the show. You're just an awesome guy. And we're going to catch up with you, but let us... we got Levi, we got Amanda here today. We got to make some money.
What's up, y'all?
Let me get this. Let me get some ads paid, and we're going to do that. All right. So Solomon Services, it's the premier place for personal training in St. Augustine. They have both youth and adult training classes. They've got small group strength and fitness development. If you've been injured, they can help you get better and stronger to get you back on the field or the court. They do all of this in their state-of-the-art center with both indoor and outdoor turf areas, and every single one of their coaches is certified through the National Strength and Conditioning Association. I keep telling you to join this place. I've been doing this for 14 years now. I'm in the best surf shape I've been in. It's not because of me. It's because of what Sal has trained me to do. So great group of guys. And it's a wonderful bunch of people to work out with. I mean, they just really are. So give them a call, 904-461-9945. I'll be there in the morning.
Awesome. Abear, Kresge & Associates, they are a full-service local CPA firm with a team of skilled professionals dedicated to providing top levels of service in the areas of tax compliance, planning for businesses, estates, individuals, and trusts, audits, reviews, and other accounting services, business valuations, forensic analysis, and litigation support. You can reach them today at 904-460-0747 or online at abearkresgecpa.com.
We have A to Z Custom Homes Roofing and Waterproofing. A to Z offers free estimates and has been serving St. Johns County for over 20 years in the construction industry. A to Z offers painted metal roofs for saltwater area homes with warranties up to 25 years. A to Z offers shingle roofs with warranties up to 50 years. A to Z also installs tile roofing, cedar shake shingles.
You got it.
Designer roofing and flat roof coverings. Recent job photos with material descriptions can be seen at A to Z Roofing and Waterproofing.com. That's A to Z Roofing and Waterproofing.
Awesome.
We never give anyone that one to read on the first read.
No.
It's just a tough one.
Forgot it was this one, and then I got to it, and I was like, didn't prepare.
Don't blow it.
All right, and we had them in yesterday. The Taste of St. Augustine is Sunday at the amphitheater. The run to the Taste is at 10:30 in the morning. The Taste starts at 11. They've got bands there. There was a rumor that someone started on the show that the Mamas and the Papas would be there tomorrow, but it's Big Mama and Papa Fish. So, yes.
Bad Dog Mama.
Bad Dog Mama.
And Big Papa Fish.
And Big Papa. Thank you. See? The Mamas and the Papas. It's so much easier the way I said it. It's just not accurate.
Guys,
it's just not accurate. All right. Epic, for over 50 years, they've been a beacon of hope for our community, providing compassionate care for those touched by substance use or mental health disorders. Whether you're a kid, teen, adult, couple, or family, Epic is here to lend a helping hand. With a range of programs tailored to meet diverse needs, Epic offers accessible solutions for everyone. From their walk-in access center to their mobile response team, from inpatient detoxification to outpatient counseling, Epic provides comprehensive care every step of the way. Their services include psychiatric evaluations, medication management, medication-assisted treatment, care coordination, peer support, suicide prevention training, parenting education, and much, much, much more. Give Epic a call. They're absolutely amazing. They've been helping St. Johns County for over 50 years. And if you get a chance, go to the Taste. It's at the amphitheater Sunday. I will be there. I will be there.
Allegedly.
Yeah, no, I'm going. I talked to Darcy. She wanted to go. She wanted to see the bands.
Very cool.
And we're going to go get
Did
some
you
food.
tell her it's the mamas and papas?
No,
or
I told. No. She looked at it. She
You were
knows.
honest to her.
I've been married to her for almost 36 years, so
So
she
she
knows.
stopped listening to you a
She
long time
knows.
ago.
Oh yeah. I think before we got married. I think we were dating for 2 years. I think she gave up like in 18 months. She's like, I don't have to listen to him. I got
Right
him.
on.
I'm good. No, she does listen to me, and then she corrects me. That's it.
Sounds
So
about right.
it's luck. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So, Ricky Van Rickley, welcome back.
Thanks, Mike.
And you have been involved with Task Force Hydro One
Yep. Since the beginning.
since the beginning.
Yeah.
Since you and Lou had that awkward moment.
Yeah. Leo and I, yeah.
Leo and you and
in the
Leo.
water when we eyes locked.
Yeah.
It seems to happen
Kinda
all
like
the
the
time.
amphitheater.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is there's just magnetism about you.
Yeah.
There's just a magnetism about you.
Raw charisma.
Yeah, Leo and I get that. Yeah, I'm gonna call him up and just tell him I felt awkward too, but I couldn't stop myself. So you guys, you're involved, but you had to step back a little bit,
I did.
and you're back. You're doing better now. But why'd you have to step back?
I came down with throat cancer in, I believe it was October 2023. I was just one day in April, I was actually talking to my wife in the kitchen and just started bleeding out of my mouth. We just started doing trying to pinpoint it with the doctor. I had a feeling I knew what it was because a lot of my friends had contracted cancer in the Special Forces community. And then I was just telling the guy, hey, this is what it was. And we just kept trying to find it. And then one day I got an earache where it hurt really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into St. Vincent, got an x-ray, an MRI, and they saw a lump and went from there. And within a week I knew that I had cancer. So I was driving to work one day and doctor called. I was like, can you talk?
Whenever they start with anything other than hi, and it's a hesitation,
Yeah.
like this is not the call I want to
I pulled over.
Yeah.
I was on US 1 up there by the gate station going into Nocatee, and that's when I didn't go into work. I turned around and went home. So went home and just prayed to God and told him I don't have cancer.
Mhm.
I'm effing cancer. Cancer's not effing me.
Yes.
So that's the mindset I had the whole time.
How long was the treatment?
It was 36 treatments of radiation, and then chemo was 6 treatments.
Yep.
And they asked me what I wanted to do. I just said, just kick it in the nuts,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we did. It was probably the worst thing I ever did in my life. So.
It's actually the best thing you ever did. The worst thing would have been not doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So it's
A lot of friends told me
Yeah.
like, hey, go, go holistic and natural. I didn't have time. I have a 12-year-old and a wife at home. I don't want to gamble, so we just kicked it. We just ramped it up, and
Well, and that's the thing. There's a lot of stuff out there on the internet right now, and you don't know. There's every time you turn on, there's some miracle drug, right? There's some
Yep.
miracle cure. You don't know if that's true or not, and
you don't.
And it's
There's
your life.
so
when
much
you're-
information out there,
Yeah.
and that's one thing. As soon as I got it,
Mm-hmm.
I stayed off of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I told myself, do not go on YouTube or anything,
Yeah.
so I stayed off of it.
And you were at, was it St. Vincent? Were you
Eiffel,
okay.
who passed away 3 days before I rang the bell. He got me into, he knew a lot of people over there at Baptist South,
Yes.
MD Anderson,
Mm-hmm.
through his connections through the Jewish Community Alliance in Jacksonville. So he got me in there pretty quick.
How is Eiffel's family doing?
They're doing great. Considering,
Yeah.
but wife is doing well. She's got a better job that she likes a lot.
Yep.
And his son and his 2 daughters are just kicking butt.
Because
Yeah.
was that 3 years ago? Is it
3
two-
years.
Yeah. 2 years ago?
23.
23.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a sad story. You guys did a great job rallying around the family, though.
Yeah.
Just really, really awesome. So, you're back. You guys have the paddle coming up,
Yep. Our main
Uh,
fundraiser for the year.
but no luau this year.
No luau. It's going to end with a with a basically just a party at the Dolphin Plaza, a little event center right there in Hannah Park.
And I have to apologize. I mean, I brought Amanda and Louis, her husband, last year, and that dancing on the tables and some of the stuff that they did.
We had to pay for all the glasses.
I know. I mean, all the glassware. It really it went from being a fundraiser to almost a mass arrest. And so I haven't taken them to an event since. So I just want you to know.
That is actually true. He stopped inviting me to events. I only got to the Home Again event because Troy invited me.
Troy invited you, yes. But no, I know that had to be a tremendous amount of work for you guys just to put that on. So.
Yeah, it's very expensive to run those and intensive because we're all volunteer organization, and also just running this 50-mile paddle.
Well, you're paddling and then you got to go party.
Yeah.
And that's tough.
That's very tough.
That's tough. Look, if you're Levi's age, you're expected to do that. But if you're our age,
but
it's
I just found out another thing where I can, stay hydrated and party.
Yeah, exactly.
Levi has all the young life hacks.
Yeah.
So we have him on the show. So it's like, okay, what about this? What about? And Levi is. So what was your life hack?
You got to drink alcohol that has electrolytes.
Oh, alcohol with electrolytes.
Yep.
Not
Keep the party going.
Not one bourbon and one electrolytes. You want to mix them all together.
You got to mix them all together. Yeah.
I don't know if I can mix that.
Is that like sea salt and beer?
I mean, that's closer.
Yeah.
It's kind of close.
Yeah.
No, Levi's a big proponent. We talk a lot about ice baths and saunas and those kind of things.
I got them in my Zen room.
Yeah.
As soon as I got cancer,
Nice.
my wife went in, tore down the Shaping Bay,
Mm-hmm.
and we put a plunge bath in there and a sauna.
Yep.
We're getting ready to put a massage chair in there too.
Sweet.
Got to get the red light therapy next.
Yeah, that's what I got. It's red light therapy.
Nice.
So are you in the, is it the ice pod that's got the unit, or you just put ice in the?
I got the plunge.
You got the plunge?
Yeah, a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm gonna go cheap," and I'm just gonna go with the bags.
Yeah.
Good luck. It's so intensive, just like labor intensive. Go get the bags at the store, put it in there, and then it melts right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? You need to have, and then you have to clean the water.
Yes.
Yep.
Right? So if you just buy the system, it eventually pays for itself.
Well, and that's the thing I have one I bought. A friend had one. I was in it last year about once a week.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, I'm gonna take the plunge literally and buy one and we already had the sauna from the year before. And the only complaint I have about it is when you got to clean that out, it's 60 gallons of water that you got to get out.
Yeah.
And then you got to reload that up. And it's a good hour of cleaning that ice plunge.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to see your feet. Right? Whenever you get in and you can't see your feet, you're like, I really need to clean this.
Yeah.
I know it's time to kind of clean
You got to
this.
treat the water constantly, Mike.
I do treat the water. I do. No, it's just, and the other, I just think it's an awesome, for me, I'm in that thing 5-6 days a week right now.
Yeah, I do
I
it.
love that.
I do it 5 days a week.
Morning or night?
Do it in the morning.
See, Mike, get with the program, man.
I like it.
You need to do it
won't
before
it in
your
the morning.
workout,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
Before the workout. I try to tell him.
Yeah, because, having some inflammation is good after a workout.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
You want it repairs your body, but if
Yep.
you do it immediately after your workout,
Yeah.
Kill your gains.
It kills your gains, and it actually affects your recovery.
See, I do it about sunset. I do it a couple hours before I go to
Okay,
bed.
yeah.
And then I sleep phenomenally.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you're going
it's
to do it
just a
after
huge-
workout, it has to be at least 6 hours after.
At least 6
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, I
He
work out in the
works
morning.
out at like 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm at the early session.
Yeah.
At Sal. So yeah, I'm 6:30 to 7:30, so I can get into work.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But for me, it's been great.
What's the temperature?
51.
Yep, that's perfect.
I'm at 51.
I don't
You
like.
got to be below 50.
Man, I'm at 49.
I'm at 45.
Yeah, but I tried it at 35 for a bit, and I just
Yeah, I listened to Joe Rogan talk about my inner B
Yeah.
word, and I was like, I can go to 36.
Yeah.
I got down to 36, and I did it for a week, and I was like, I started looking at the peer-reviewed research
He
on like,
embraced the interview.
I started looking at like the peer-reviewed papers, and I heard Gary Brecka talking about, hey, it only needs to be like right at 50. I was like, I'm going back to 45.
yeah.
I have a buddy that's at the 45 range, but he's only in for 3 minutes. I'm in for 6 minutes.
Oh,
So,
you are?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do 6 minutes at that low
3.5.
50s, and that feels
Yeah.
about
3.5,
perfect.
4.
And
Yeah, I do about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it took a while.
we do the ice. We like freeze 5-gallon buckets and we put it in there because we're
Yeah.
like minimum budget. So we
Yeah,
needed
yeah, yeah.
a proof of concept before we could like drop $1,000 on this thing.
Yeah.
And so we got it
Grand.
down to like
Cheap one.
50, 52,
Okay.
and my husband's like, you can go in first. Because we both needed a plunge. So
Yeah.
like he knew I wanted it as cold as we can get it. And so we got it to like 52, 53. And he's like, so how long you going? And I'm like, I'm setting the timer for 9.5 because I know it's going to take me a little bit to sit.
Yeah.
And I want to be under for at
Yeah.
least 8 minutes. And he's like, what in the world are you doing right now? And I was like,
No, yeah, that's way too long.
I'm going. And it was amazing. Felt great.
Yeah, you don't want to do more than 6 minutes.
No, you got to focus.
No, you're like for health reasons, you don't want to do more than 6
She
minutes.
just called you out, and I'm not going to say the word at the end of the sentence.
I'm just saying for health reasons, you don't want to do more than 6
I
minutes.
don't have external testicles. I don't need to worry about that. It's good.
Again, she just called you out.
But
I
hey,
made
listen,
my babies. I
if you
don't need to worry about
can, if
that.
you can start doing it in the morning, I promise you, all the fires you have to put out at work, they won't bother you. You'll be the happiest man in the world.
I'm going to read the Bible in the morning. That takes care of that. That takes care of
Do you
that.
listen to Daily Blade?
I do not.
Man.
I tell somebody, I started this year, raised Catholic, went to Catholic school,
Yeah.
kindergarten through, and had every bit of the Bible you thought you could get.
Yeah.
And so I said, this year, I just want to read it from start to finish. I'd
Yep.
never done that before. So I'm grinding through. I was telling Amanda the other night, I finally got through Kings. I didn't think I was ever going to get through Kings. So really excited to be
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing right now every day.
Yeah,
I
it's
got
just-
the
it's
app.
been fun. Yeah, and next year I want to do the one that links up different parts of the Bible, the
Yeah.
Old Testament and Psalms and that. And I'll do that next year. But this year I was like, I just want to go start to finish.
Wow.
So I just want to.
Yeah.
Good for
just
you.
do it. So yeah. So I don't. Yeah, a lot less stress this year. So the majority of it I attribute to reading the Bible every day. The other, the sauna and the ice bath are great, but I attribute most of it to just being in a different headspace.
Yep.
So,
Nice.
yeah. So Task Force Hydro 1. When's the event?
So the event is May 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
We load the boats, the support boats at Ant Cates. You've seen a boat ramp at 5:30 in the morning. We got 4 6-man canoes, outriggers, Tahitian, not Hawaiian, they're Tahitian, donated to us for use from a company called RA Outrigger
Mm-hmm.
out of Tahiti. And I'm actually one of the reps for the Southeast USA, but it's amazing. They say, come get our van and our trailer and the canoes, and you can use it for your event. And I've had it for like 2 months.
Okay.
So it was really helpful. So now we have 4 teams of we have actually 8 teams of 6, right? So what they'll do is they'll paddle south out the inlet, down the intercoastal, out the inlet, turn north.
Mm-hmm.
And then once those 6 get tired, about 45 minutes, the first time we always switch out right about the Reef restaurant.
Yes.
Right about.
So you can get from Ant Cates to the Reef in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
That's booking me.
Yeah. And we do it with the tide because the tide's going out, right?
Yes.
I time it. But and then we just do that little cut right there in Volano.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully it's not that big, and sometimes we'll just do some wave hopping.
Well, people don't understand. You look at the inlet from the city or from the beaches, and you can't tell those waves at that inlet are. There's
Yeah.
a shoal out there.
I actually had a 3-minute ride 2 days ago on my canoe.
Yeah.
From the outside all the way in. 3 minutes.
I've got buddies. David Slimp is one of them that go out there and hydrofoil,
Yeah.
and they're out there hydrofoiling. And they'll call me and go, "Hey, we're hydro." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I got to work today."
Yeah.
So, I know that I'm going to fall, and I understand that inlet is chock full of fish, and then it's chock full of things that hunt fish, and I just don't want to be one of those.
There are a lot of those
Yes.
out there.
That's the place where they're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot.
Yeah, they're like, "Yeah, we're going out there again." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you go."
Yeah, so we go right there, and then right about Aunt Kate's, I mean the Reef restaurant,
Mhm.
6 will jump out the right side.
Yep.
6 will jump out of one of the support boats that we have.
And you got all the support boats you
Yeah, we have one support boat for each canoe. That's 5 canoes.
need. Okay.
I meant 5 boats because there's one media boat. I'm not paddling this year the
Yeah.
whole time because just so many canoes and so many boats. Someone's got to control the chaos, and also someone's got to do the Facebook Live broadcast that we're going to be
The
doing.
commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, commentary.
Nice.
RA donated for use their Starlink,
Mhm.
and we're
that's
gonna
pretty
have
cool.
connection, and we're gonna do Facebook Live broadcasts.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. So it's pretty awesome. And then guys will load in, we'll start paddling, And then hopefully we won't run into 70-mile-per-hour gusts of wind that happened last time halfway through.
So do these guys train for this?
No, actually, yes, they do.
He's like, wait a minute, I'm in.
I did a charity run, a half marathon that I didn't train for.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
I was like, I should have trained. I don't know what I was thinking.
So there are some people who have never
Road?
paddled
Okay.
that are going to be in it. There's about 5. So I have a Tahitian world champ, Lewis Laughlin, coming from Tahiti. That RA helped bring him out here. He's going to give a clinic on the 1st and the 2nd to all of our newbies, and then they'll have at least one day of experience from the world champ.
Okay.
Awesome. You know, he's the legend. These guys won so many races in Tahiti. He's done the Molokai crossing, and then on the 4th, he's going to give one-man class clinics to anybody who wants to sign up.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
So the Molokai Crossing, what is the Molokai Crossing?
So Molokai Crossing is there's multiple, right? There's from I believe from Maui to Molokai, and then there's from Molokai to Oahu. And people do it in stand-up paddle boards. Now they do it in foils. They do it in one-man outriggers and 6-man canoes.
And the 6-man, you're selling those now. That's your job. You've left because you were doing.
I was doing construction.
Yeah.
You know, and you're in construction. You know,
Yeah.
like you go in, it's a great day, and then about an hour later,
You had great days in construction? I'm looking for one of those. I'm looking for one of those.
Yeah, it was just too rough, and
the
stress for I just don't want to have the stress, you know, and I want to do something I love, and helping vets, and then working with the water is what my real passion is. And I love the company that I work for; they were great. But
And the company you work for is
it was Stratum. The company I work for right now is RA Outrigger.
RA Outriggers. Okay. And what does an outrigger canoe cost?
Roughly around. It depends, but roughly around 21,000. But get a hold of me in about 4 months.
Yes.
And we're gonna have a new canoe coming out with a package deal.
Okay.
And it's gonna be a really good entry price for any clubs or dragon boat clubs too.
And how many clubs are in North Florida?
So North Florida, Jacksonville, we have 4 or 5. We have us, Duval Canoe Club. We have Lokahi, and then there's another one up there.
Okay.
So.
Is there any rumbles between you guys? I mean, you get together at the boat ramp and
Like the jets versus the sharks?
We all really support each other quite a bit. We all have different each club has a different personality.
Yep.
You know, we got one club's a straight competitive, and they're just that's all they do. And but they're like our sister club. They come down and do a lot of things with us. Then there's a lot of there's one club that does a lot of dragon boating, but they also have like just retired people from all ages, and a lot of them are cancer survivors.
Yep.
And then you have one club, Lokahi, Jacksonville, that's just up there by right there by the bridge, Jacksonville University. And they paddle out of there, so just spread out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You guys still doing the surf days?
We do Stoking Saturday still, 8 a.m. at Hannah Park, Dolphin Plaza, every third Saturday. We still give lessons and all that stuff, and we just chill.
Still getting good crowds?
Still getting huge crowds.
Good.
We still have a lot of, and we're still shaping surfboards.
Yep.
And, right now, a guy named Frankie Wampat, retired U.S. Navy captain. He's going to Ken White's Shaping Bay Saturday, and he's going to shape his surfboard.
Ken's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super good guy.
Yeah, that's our shaper, and he's done a lot for us.
Yeah. So what are you riding now, surfboard-wise?
Oh, man. I ride the one that I stole from Ken. He let me borrow it, and I never gave it back.
That's kind of the surfing culture, right? If you let somebody borrow a board, you might not ever get it. They have a great ride on that board. You're probably never seeing it
it's
again.
like it's 10 foot. It's got this awesome like spoon-shaped nose.
Yes.
Ken makes this one where it's pretty thick, and then at the front, it's spoon-shaped. So when you step on it, it flexes.
Yeah.
And it's like 10 foot, but it rides so awesome.
Yeah.
I just tell him I was keeping it as a demo. I've had it for 2.5 years.
It's still a demo.
Yeah,
You haven't sold it. It's a demo.
Yeah.
No, I had a buddy that had a surfboard, and I was getting back after a back surgery, and I went from a long board to a little shorter board. But the first wave I rode on was like a 3 to 4 foot wave, and we were out on the outside sandbar, and I rode it basically all the way to the beach.
Yeah.
And when I kicked out, I was like, "Gosh, dog it! I just bought this board."
Yeah.
I said, I got to ride back out there and now negotiate the price with him for this board.
Yeah.
So, and then years later, he told me that was my favorite board. So I bought it from him. And then he was a guy Mike Green, who taught me how to surf. And so years later, for one of his birthdays, I gave it back to him. It's like, you got a heck of a deal. You sold the board and then you're getting it back. I said, you got a heck of a deal out of this. So yeah, I felt bad because every time I'd see him, he'd have this tear in his eye. Yeah, I know the board. Yeah. It's in my garage. I'm not riding it today. It was like, he was like the Seinfeld mechanic. Did you wax the board? Have you taken the fins out of the board lately? Have you cleaned those? I mean, he was like, Mike, it's all going to be okay, buddy. It's all good. I'll get it back to you. So, how much money are you guys trying to raise?
So right now we're trying to raise roughly $43,000 to $45,000.
Okay.
Right now we're at 23,000. You know, each of the way it works for us is our paddlers raise anywhere. We ask them to raise $500 to $750 per person because I got to pay for fuel. If the boat drivers, the support boats make me pay, you know?
Yeah.
But I with all these canoes, I had to make sure we had paddles, PFDs. I had to pay for insurance. You know, you gotta rent the facilities at our parks. You know, it's not cheap. Those aren't.
No.
You gotta buy. You know, you want them to walk away with something, a jersey.
Yep.
You know, so it's roughly around $10,000 to $13,000 just to run the event.
Okay.
So right now I've got some people, you know, that I gave Amanda a link. Where some of them just, they don't have the money right now. They haven't raised that much money.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to, they can go to that link and look down there on the fundraise. I want to donate. You can see guys who are under $500.
Okay.
You know, they're saving lives when they do it. You know, I got people who have sold their homes in other parts of Florida that are moving here just to be here because the mental health benefits from the water. You know, you can have a bad day, right? But as soon as you walk into the water and you duck dive, it's gone. Yeah. It's all on the beach.
Yes.
Right. And me and you have seen each other out in the water and we just look at each other, what's up? And that's it because we don't want to talk. Right.
No, it's 100% of that. And you talk about, I mean, I tell people that when I don't get to paddle out, Darcy will look at me sometimes, you just need to go get in the water. I'm like, there's no way. She said, you just need to go get in the water. But every time you duck dive under that first wave, it's like your problems just kind of get washed off your back.
Yeah.
And I've sat out in lineups before and I've been thinking about a lot of stuff. And I literally have just mentally taken the problems and just put them off the side of the board and dropped them. And I went, it's a long way down there. You'll figure it out. I'm just leaving you right here at this beach break. If I want you back, I'll come back here and find you. But I don't need that anymore. So it's a huge help in kind of releasing that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Levi, it's when he dunks a basketball. It's just all the problems go when
I
he
understand that perspective with basketball.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like when I'm having a bad day, I'll tell my girlfriend, I'm just like, I'm going up to the park to shoot. She's like, it's 7:00 at night. I'll be back in a couple hours.
Do you go play against other people?
Currently right now I play in 2 leagues. I play in one here in town, which is more for fun and conditioning, just so I can keep my conditioning up. And then I play in a really competitive league in Jacksonville. It's like a pro-am league that they run for all the guys that play overseas still.
Yeah.
I'm one of the older players in it. So
good.
He's 26. He's one of the older players.
34, but yeah. Yeah. And I'm one of the veterans. Yeah. It's a young man's game, dude.
I'm aware. I watched all you young guys come up and we played against y'all when you were much younger. And then you guys kept getting better and younger and better. The best story, I had a brother that was 12 years younger and he was a senior out at St. Joe. They had a really, really good team. And so we would go scrimmage them. And you know, their freshman year, we're crushing them. Their sophomore year is close. Their junior and senior year, they're just smoking us. Because if we hit a shot, we couldn't get a guy across half court before they had it out of the rim, and they had thrown it to the long. We're like, we're just not that quick anymore. So about 3 years after they graduated, we meet up for an alumni weekend. You probably were still in middle school. And I looked at all the guys I ran with that graduated in the 70s and 80s, and these guys that graduated in the 90s, we got these guys. And they said, what do you mean? I said, we've been drinking beer and playing basketball for 20 years. They've only been doing it for 3. We got them. We smoked them by 20 points. Because like, you guys aren't as fast as you used to be. Now you all slowed down a little bit. And you know those first 3 years out of school, all of a sudden you just start to lose a little bit. So it was hilarious. We were laughing so hard.
Yeah, most people lose a little bit, not me. No, it's hard, man. Like I said, I've gone through 2 ACL reconstruction surgeries on my left knee, and I'm still out there playing. But it's every single day. I've got to be in the gym every single morning. So
Yeah.
if I take a week off, the inflammation comes back. If I don't cold plunge, the inflammation comes back. If I start eating bad food, the inflammation comes back. So it's definitely a dedicated thing. I'm sure surfing's the same way. You got to stay dedicated with it. It's not like riding a bike.
Yeah, it's not.
No, I swim 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh, really?
Right. I mean, we're in a pool
Yeah.
with a surfboard doing 1,600 to 2,200 meters. And then before we go on a trip, we'll do duck dives all the way up and back. We'll sit on the board. You do everything. You're trying to recreate everything you do in the water. We started this about 3 years ago before a surf trip. It was a trip in the spring. So you're coming off winter when you're not surfing a lot. Water was cold. And I said, we just got to get in the water. So we did that for about 5 weeks. Got down to Costa Rica, paddled for 2 days, looked at each other and went, that is the best I feel after 2 days ever. And we've just been addicted to that. If there's no waves, we're in the pool.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
You just got to swim. You got to recreate what you're doing.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So give me a success story, somebody that came to you guys
Okay.
that needed help. I don't need names or situations.
Yeah.
They came to you guys and you guys were able to wrap around them, help them get services, help them get
Right.
Get in a good headspace.
I'll name this guy Homie T.
Yeah.
All right. So Homie T came to us through the Wounded Warrior Project. You know, we held a clinic for them over at Guana River Dam, and it was a clinic for outriggers. He came, he paddled with us, and he started coming. You know, and his stroke sucked. Right. Every time he got in the boat, he didn't really give much power to the canoe, but he kept coming.
Yeah.
You know, he kept getting better. You know, and then you know, he eventually moved from West Jacksonville because it was like an hour and a half drive to get here every time. But he was coming every practice, 3 days a week.
Yeah.
You know, and then he finally said, you know, I got to be closer. You know, so he bought a house here in St. Augustine, sold his house over there. You know, and he's over here now. He's on the beach when he's not working. He's paddling, and he's our volunteer, self-appointed guy who runs the club. Like the maintenance, you know, you go in there, screw the trailer up, he's pissed, right? He's a former Navy CB, you know, and you rig it wrong, and when, you know, he gets mad when he says it's not supposed to be rigged like this. There's an SOP, right?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, okay. Sometimes I gotta like come back, you know, but he's great. Yeah.
So, but how much of that is you guys missing structure? I mean, you're coming out of a very structured environment, being in the armed forces.
Yep.
And then you get out and there's not structure.
Yeah.
And so how much of that, just that camaraderie and being around guys that went through what you went through, but then, hey, we're going to meet at a certain time and do a certain thing, which, and it's a physical activity.
This is a physical activity. So one thing about the 6-man outrigger, right, is once you leave the beach, you got to get back, right? So there's no stopping, right? So it's just like in combat when you're, you know, I've always said to my guys, we run towards gunfire.
Yeah.
Right. That's our mentality. You know, when in Afghanistan, whenever I heard a fire one round, I was right face, poof, run towards the sound of gunfire immediately. And that's how we are, you know. So, but it's always about the guy to your left and right. I can be scared, but I'm not stopping, because if I stop, these two die.
Yeah.
So in the outrigger, you're exerting yourself. You go we sometimes go 8, 12 miles, you know, and I'm tired, but we're still in sync.
Yep.
Right. And you can feel the whole boat without even talking, you know, like you can tell somebody's not leaning forward. You can tell someone's not giving it all. I don't want to be known as that guy who's slacking. Right.
That's us if we get in the boat. I just want you to know right now. That's what they're thinking when we get in the boat.
Yeah, but it's that teamwork.
Yeah.
And then you get into the flow state.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you feel that boat just start moving, you know, like, whew. And then like, it's just amazing. You know, like yesterday we lashed 2 of the 6-mans together and made it a 12-man. And there was no outriggers, just 2 canoes lashed together. And we went out the inlet and through the shoals, wham, bam, wham, bam. We came into the reef, surfed into the reef, you know. But everybody was like a little apprehensive just because the conditions out there are a little rough last night.
Yeah.
But I knew that the boats could handle it.
Yeah, there's a pretty good wind last night.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we made it safe.
Well, the funny is, it is just enough to make you guys have an exciting getting out through the inlet, and just enough to screw up any kind of surf.
Yeah.
It's perfect for both, right?
Yeah, right.
You're like, southeast wind. So May 3rd, you're going to paddle.
Yep.
People can donate.
Yeah, they can.
And there's a party in Hannah Park.
Hannah Park, Dolphin Plaza.
Dolphin Plaza.
Yep. And, you know, it's awesome. So a lot, like Angie Subs donated the whole lunch, you know. So it's amazing, you know, people like that, you know, it's it's the community comes out and helps.
Good.
You know, and if you want, when we're going down the beach, you can see us, you know, yell at us, take pictures. I'll give a jersey to the person who takes the best photo of us going up and down the beach.
Cool.
You know, post it on our website, on our Facebook page, at TF Hydro 1. If I get an awesome, clear image, and I can put it on
of just you, or like the entire?
Just me. All the canoes moving, you know, a drone shot or something.
Yeah.
I'll give you free jersey.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let us know how it goes. Right.
Yeah.
I know we won't. Amanda will still be here, so you can get a hold of Amanda. She's going to be doing the morning show with Troy.
Yeah.
Is that announced? We're not supposed to say anything about that. Just get it to Amanda and me, and I'll get it to Troy.
Okay. I got one more plug.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tuesdays, we do beginner skills and drills. If you're interested in learning how to paddle a Hawaiian outrigger, we do Tuesday beginner lessons. It's $35 donation.
Yep.
Right. You come out there. We don't go far, and it's not intense. It's meant for a beginner to see how it feels, and then once you do like it, we have 1-man canoes, 2-man canoes, 3-man canoes, surfing canoes, and then you can pay your $350 annual dues. You can come paddle with us anytime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And where is that? It's at Aunt Kate's also?
It's at
or does that start?
Yeah, it's at Aunt Kate's.
Yep.
You know the Usina family. They've donated for the last 2.5 years that a spot in their storage facility. You know, and I want to help. What can we do? They're like, we just like help you
They're
guys
just
out.
great people.
They're great
They're
people.
just great. You just are not going to find better people.
Yeah,
they're
they're great.
wonderful.
You know, and what they're doing for us is saving lives. That's basically what I tell them.
Yeah.
Every time I see them.
Yeah, they're just absolutely. That's an awesome group. Of people.
Give us T-shirts. We like your T-shirts.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. That listen, I think that's fantastic. Yeah. So, yeah, everybody else in the crew doing well.
Everybody's doing.
Leo's
great.
doing good.
Leo's doing great. He's playing soccer quite a bit.
Awesome.
He's a different Leo. He's got a goatee.
What?
You know, looks pretty suave.
I just missed meeting Leo's daughter in Peru.
Oh,
His
really?
daughter was in Peru the same time we were.
Yeah.
And we went to Machu Picchu like a day before her. And so I just missed getting to meet her. I was so bummed.
Yeah. No, that's awesome because
Yeah.
I haven't seen him probably in about a year or so since the luau last year.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, cool. Thank you so much. Good
All
luck.
right,
So happy that you're healthy. Glad I got to see you at Good Friday service. That really, I wasn't going to be getting something to eat, and I went down to get something to eat. It's just so I could run into you, so we could have you.
It's just weird eating at a church service
And
during it. Normally you get donuts afterwards.
Well, raised Catholic, it was hard to eat a hamburger that day, but I was really hungry, and I was like, I either do Lent or I don't do Lent.
Yeah.
And this year I tapped out like before Lent started. I'm like, no, I'm not doing Lent this year. And like next year I'll probably feel guilty and completely do it the way I'm supposed to, but this year I just didn't.
Yeah, I tried to.
Yeah, there's years I'm committed, and there's years I just didn't feel like it. But yeah, if I hadn't gone to get the hamburger, I wouldn't have seen you.
Yeah,
if I hadn't seen
and
you,
I wouldn't be here.
It wouldn't be here. So I feel like all of that was kind of set up. So,
Yep.
brother, I'm so happy you're doing well.
Thanks.
Thank you, man.
Awesome.
Take care of
Take care,
yourself.
Thank you, Ricky.
Stay in touch with us.
I will.
All right. All right.
Almost
We
left the
got
money
you.
there for us.
He almost did. He almost did. He's good. He's smart. He's not leaving that. All right. You've got to take it easy on the YMCA basketball. I heard things got a little exciting the other night.
Did Reese tell you?
Oh, I know. What went
I
on.
was going to tell you
I know
about
what
it.
went on. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
How crazy is that?
It reminds me of our days when we were playing.
I mean, honestly, never mind. I don't want to talk about the event. It could have been avoided. I'll say that.
All of those can be.
It could have been avoided.
All of those can be. I was never in one of those, but there were those things kind of
Did you
happened
get into
during the
a
leagues.
fight? What happened?
I did not get into a fight.
Levi was
All
not
right.
in a fight. It just when you get people playing competitively, some people are the same person off the court as on the court or the field, and whether they're competitive or nice or whatever, that's just their personality. There are other people that when they step across that line, they change.
Yep.
And they become much more competitive. And I think it's hard for some people the older they get to kind of let go of that.
The issue with this one was there's one team, I won't name names, but there's one team that has had issues in the City League and they've had issues in the YMCA League.
Yeah.
And it's like, how many times are you guys going to let this team in the league when they're always the one that's creating the controversy?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
could have been avoided.
Well, and that was, I mean, I remember one night I was talking to one of the other guys playing, and he was really down about his play.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, does your family really love you? He said, yeah. I said, when you go home tonight, are they going to care if you won or lost? He said, well, no. And I said, well, let me tell you something. I've been watching SportsCenter for 20 years, and they never show a YMCA game for the top 10. We've never, we are 0 for the entire time as a over 35 league making the top 10.
Yes.
The middle school kids have a better chance of making the top 10 than we do. So you should just enjoy this, that you get to run up and down. You get to go home at the end of the day. The score doesn't matter.
It's a good way to look at it.
It just doesn't. It's fun to play as long as you can play, but don't be a jerk about it.
With all that being said, I better not lose.
I didn't say losing was fun.
No.
Listen, I was one of those guys, if I won 7 games in a row in a gym and I lost the last game and everyone's like, this is last game, I'd be the guy lobbying for one more.
Yeah, same.
Because I didn't want to go home 7-1. I wanted to go home 8-1.
You just don't want to lose the last game.
You never wanted to lose the last game. Like if you could walk off winning, if you hit the shot to win the last game, that was even better.
Yeah.
That was even better. But no, Task Force Hydro One, if you guys can support them. Absolutely wonderful group helping veterans. They are amazing.
And they need donations right now. I dropped that donation link in the comments. There's a bunch of links. It's the one where it says, let's see, I dropped a lot. Support the paddle here. That's the link. They need the money because each paddler has to bring in a certain amount of money to help pay for that paddle.
Yeah, and we're going to promote that every day from now until the time that we're not promoting it. And then maybe somebody else will promote it after we're done.
Troy's very friendly.
Troy's very friendly, especially if I tell him I'm going to raise his rent if he doesn't. It's really easy to get things on this show. So, Troy, the rent's going up. What do you want on the show, Mike?
I mentioned a story that I had heard on Monday, and you told me to save it for Wednesday because you and Levi would have the most fun with it.
Okay, give me this story.
Go into that?
Yes.
All right. So what we have is, I'll pull up the actual chick, but what we have is a chick going viral on TikTok, calling out certain online trends for women that can lead to far-right indoctrination. So her whole premise is that we've lost young men to the alt-right thanks to indoctrination on TikTok and online, right? So we need to gird our loins and avoid these trends for that lead to alt-right indoctrination for women. Would you like to take a guess, or do you want me to go through and name them one by one and get your reaction? How about I tell it to you, and then you can guess why it's a bad thing. How about that?
Well, okay. I was going to say, give us one example and thing so that we can then kind of figure out, because there's no idea where lefties are going, right? I mean, it could be they're breathing. These are men breathing on the internet, and we can't have that anymore. I mean, it literally could be that.
The fact that someone would say TikTok is turning people all right is crazy.
So these things are not inherently conservative or fascist, but these are a slippery slope.
Okay.
So I'll give you, how about I give you the first one and give you the reason why, and then after that we'll play a guessing game.
Okay.
So the first one she gives is clean beauty and clean eating. And the reason these are a bad thing, these are trends online you want to avoid if you don't want to fall down the slippery slope of the far right, is because these lead to the distrust in regulatory bodies, which is a fast track to the MAHA, Make American Healthy Again movement.
So if you want to be healthy, you're right-leaning.
You are headed to the far right.
So
you are almost a Nazi.
I have seen this story in another way, where people on the left are blaming gyms and fitness for people not being leftists anymore.
Yeah, this is part of it.
Yeah, this is the mindset that if you want to stay in shape and you want to stay healthy and you want to live a healthy life and do productive things later on in the life, you're just right-leaning.
There are studies that have found that the more you work out, the more conservative you will vote, which is very interesting.
But I think it's a matter of I'm committed. I think it's more a commitment thing than anything else. I think if you're
it worked for Joe Rogan.
If you're committed to working out, you're committed to other things. If you're not committed to working out, you're not committed to much of anything. If you're just committed to sitting on the couch and eating horrible food and not being in good shape, there's not a commitment to much at that point in time.
Some of us have very loving couches. Just saying.
Listen,
I'm not going to.
staying healthy and taking care of your body is the highest form of self-respect you could have. It doesn't make you conservative, doesn't make you anything. It's just a fact that if you take care of yourself, you will live a longer, happier life. And shame on you, whoever this person is.
Hold on, we're not even to it all yet.
I can't even get past this part. Like, are you kidding me?
Okay, so we're talking online trends. This one might be an easy one because we have talked about it on the show.
Okay.
What online trend that's female focused do you think is a slippery slope to the far right?
Trad wife.
Yep, that's number 2. So
Yeah.
trad
Wait a
wife,
minute. You got to tell Levi what trad wife is.
Levi knows, I'm
No,
sure.
I don't know what trad wife is.
See, I told you he didn't know.
It's very fetishy, so I assumed that a young man would know it.
No. It's not that kind of fetish. If you want, Levi can give you a list of young men fetishes that they like. Trad wife is not one of them
Not on
because
the list.
wife
They're
is in there.
They're very like pin-up stylized. So it's the women that a trad wife is just a traditional wife. So a traditional stay-at-home
traditional wife.
That's basically what it is.
That's awesome.
But trad wife content on TikTok and Instagram is like a busty pinup girl who's like 2.5 weeks away from her OnlyFans page creation, who's over here like bending at the waist seductively and cleaning for the camera and like wearing low-cut tops and making smoothies and making bread from scratch. That's like trad wife content. So do we want to take a guess why this is a slippery slope to the far right?
Because you are allowing a man to tell you what to do.
It promotes rigid gender norms and leads to Christian nationalism. Gender norms lead to Christian nationalism, y'all.
What amazes me is because I have a couple of stories in here that are similar, but they're not. They're just, we'll get there. But anything that doesn't validate the left now, they just absolutely go through. If they find out, and the thing they hate is conservatives are having more fun than them. Conservatives are having a lot more fun than them, and it is just driving them nuts.
Okay, so
and the left used to be fun. When I was a kid, the left was the fun group.
Yeah,
the conservatives were the stuck-up.
Yeah,
group.
they were the rock stars, and they were the anti-establishment and the rebels. Okay, so number 3, you're gonna say is the same as number 1, but it's not. It's different, and I can tell you why. So do you want to take a stab at number 3, something that's similar to number 1?
What was number 1 again? That was a while ago.
Health and
Clean
fitness.
beauty, clean eating is what number 1 was.
Bathing. I'm going to say bathing because the left doesn't bathe anymore. Have you seen some of the people at these rallies? They don't know what a bath looks like.
No comment. Okay, skinny talk and diet culture. Skinny talk and diet culture. Do you want to take a guess why skinny talk and diet culture is a slippery slope to the far right, alt-right?
I'm going to say it's because once you quit eating the food that the government tells you to eat, that all of a sudden you're listening to other voices on the internet, and those voices drag you to the pit of oblivion known as
because it's
right-wing.
anti-establishment. Yeah.
So the reason why skinny talk and diet culture is toxic and pushes you to the outright is because this is so crazy. It pushes you towards believing there is a moral superiority to fitness, which you guys have clearly demonstrated, patriarchy, which is a slippery slope to eugenics.
That's a compliment, by the way.
Slippery slope to eugenics. Believing that watching your diet and maintaining a healthy lower weight is a slippery slope to eugenics.
said well, there's a lot of testing and stuff that's done now on kids, and I think there are certain people out there that are headed towards eugenics faster than just trying to stay in shape. Because you've got testing going on now, and the doc's saying, well, if you don't have all these markers, you shouldn't have this baby.
Yeah.
Because if you want this, and this, genetically, we see that they're not going to give you those things that you're.
People conflate that having a chance of having this means that the baby has that. And so just because you have a marker that shows that it has a chance doesn't mean it's 100% guarantee. So there's lots of people that have turned down the selective abortions that they were recommended because of these tests, and then went on to have a perfectly healthy baby because it's just a chance. So, these tests are, that's closer to eugenics than eating a healthy diet.
Yeah.
So the reason it's different is because clean beauty and clean eating is caring about what the ingredients are that you're putting on and in your body. So that's what clean beauty, clean eating is. Skinny talk and diet culture is about more calories out than in maintaining a healthy body weight. All right, so number 4, do you want to take a guess? I'm guilty of this one. Let's just say that.
Broad overgeneralizations.
And
I would say one of these has got to be about talking about religion. One of them has to be either watching or talking about religious.
yes, but not in the way you think it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, so number 4.
If it's not the way I think it is, then it has to do with traditional marriage versus these new.
You're going to love this. All
Okay.
right. So number 4 is homesteading and homeschooling. You're jumping ahead. So homesteading and homeschooling. And the reason why this leads to the all right and the far right is because it leads to an mistrust, and that's her words, mistrust in institutions, classism, and racism. Homesteading and homeschooling is classist and racist.
Makes sense.
I thought it was just you wanted an
because it's
opportunity.
outlawed for everyone except the wealthy and the pale.
I just thought it was an opportunity for you to spend time and teach your kids what you want them to learn. It's really interesting. If you look at educational standards and testing, it continues to go down. So we spent more money now on education than we ever have before, and the scores are going down. And so there's something seriously broken there. I think some of what's broken is the family because you don't have parents invested. When we were kids, our parents were invested getting us to college.
Yes.
And my generation, probably 30% of the kids went to college. Levi's generation, I'm going to bet almost 100% of kids went to college.
You went to St. Joe, you did.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a completely different kind of mindset now. And I mean, it's almost like, well, yeah, everyone gets there. And I don't know that people are working as hard. I mean, when we were there, it's like, you know, my case, if you don't go to college, you're going to drive the dump truck. Guess what? I went to college, I came home, and I still drove the dump truck for the company. So yeah, I get it.
Yep. All right. So the spirituality one hits on number 5.
A little bit ahead.
Wait, who is this person? How valid are these statements?
I'll get there. She's a former social worker, and I'll show you who she is. But she's a former social worker who has gone viral on TikTok as a result of this little tirade. So number 5 is New Age, spirituality, tarot cards, and crystals. These spaces are overrun by QAnon people. So check the credentials of any vendor before you drop your coin on your crystals and tarot cards, because you could be supporting a QAnon conspiracy theorist who's anti-Semitic and terrible.
Wait a minute. Wait.
It's not discounting.
Wait a
crystals
minute.
and
I just
tarot
one
cards.
question for the anti-Semitic rant. Is she for or against from the river to the sea? Just one question. I kind of think I know where she is.
Yeah, I haven't looked, and so I was surprised she went that route, and so I'm really curious as to what her thoughts are ever since October 7th, 2020. Was it 3?
I don't think some people on the left understand what anti-Semitism is.
I don't think so.
I
You
don't
keep
think they
using
do.
that word.
I really, yes, you keep using that word, but I don't think you understand the meaning of that word.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, the final one.
Yes.
Do you want to take a guess? You want me to give it to you?
Give me a hint.
Okay. Let's see. This leans into traditional gender roles, but it's not that. It's an offshoot.
You went through exercise. You went through education. I'll just go movies.
Movies.
I'll just go
All right.
entertainment.
So soft living, which is a trend, soft living, and feminine energy. These two movements in the tiki-taki space, they lead to ideas of women submitting to their husbands. So this is what you kind of jumped to that with the trad wife stuff. But it's really the soft living trend and the embodying your feminine energy trend. It leads to women submitting to their husbands and getting back to traditional gender roles. So what I'm hearing from this woman, anything that has any reinforcing nature to traditional gender roles is a slippery slope to the far right. You're basically a Nazi.
So how many cats does she own?
So this woman wants you to avoid soft living and traditional gender roles. Do you have a kind of a picture in your head of what she might look like?
I'm thinking some type of colored hair. I'm thinking that she does not care about her weight or appearance. I got glasses. I'm going with glasses. So,
all right. So here's the big reveal. This is what this woman actually looks like. The most all-American blonde hair. She's got brown eyes, like natural beauty, feminine energy, female you've ever seen in your life.
will you quit insulting her? What I said to her was nice compared to what you just said to her.
So what I think is funny about this is the idea that, like, there's an idea that chicks will have a tendency to encourage other girls down paths they know will make them less successful so that they don't have competition. And that's what this reeks of. Here's this beautiful girl who weighs nothing, and she's gorgeous, and she's putting on her makeup while she's doing, like, she's literally like putting on her makeup while she's doing this, while telling women to not fall down the trap of traditional gender roles.
How old
and
is she?
Feminine energy. I don't know. I can look it up. But
Old enough to think she knows everything.
Well, that's what
how
I'm
old
saying.
she
So
is.
when I was like in my young 20s, you thought you knew everything.
of course.
And then you started realizing as you got a little older, oh, well, maybe my dad did know a little bit about
she's
that.
a former social worker, so she's old enough to be retired.
Wait. No, she's old enough to be she's old enough to be unemployed. There's a difference between retirement and unemployment, and we don't know the difference.
Oh my word, it's so funny.
Levi, wait till you get to be my age.
The alt-right pipeline. Dare I say fascist? It's hilarious to me.
So and we might talk about some of these tomorrow with the Bollocks Boys, but here's some of the titles of articles that were first of all, there's a whole story last week on the manosphere. And the manosphere we're part of that.
Yeah.
Because we're on a network that has more men on it than women on it. And we talk about a lot of stuff that's male oriented than it is female oriented.
Nice.
So we're part of the manosphere, according to them.
I'm right here, Levi.
You're part of the problem.
Clearly.
Miss homeschooler trad wife.
Yeah,
Evidently,
you
I
fit
have
the
flipped
mold.
the slope. Here
You know,
it
and
is.
here's the thing, Amanda. We didn't betray our own kind. You did by becoming those things. So
Did you bring your crystal ball and tarot cards?
I know.
I don't even support any of them, whether they're QAnon or not. I don't buy it.
No.
So there you go.
When I heard manosphere, it reminded me of hearing man sitting, right?
Manspreading?
Man spreading,
Yeah.
or when you got mansplaining, and I'm like, I have been woman-splained to a lot in my lifetime. So
Watch this video. You
Yeah,
can
when-
mansplain.
It's like, yeah, come on.
Send it to
Here.
Darcy.
How many views does that video have?
So it went viral at the point of the reporting on BuzzFeed. It had been viewed over 1 million plus times.
Yeah.
I can send you the article.
One of my videos has 3 million views, so she needs
I
to
know,
catch.
but
She needs to
you
catch
have
up.
already slipped the all-right pipeline as well, sir.
I know. The alt-right guys are supporting you. They know who you are. So here's some of the headlines that were out there. This is the woman who was in charge of the disinformation governance board.
Oh, we love her.
If you remember her, what is her name?
I love her music. She's just a great song.
Janikowski is her last name. Trying to find, but anyway, she's over in Europe, and the headline is
Perfect. Keep her there.
Don't capitulate. Ex-Biden disinformation czar goes to Europe to advocate against the U.S. autocracy.
Oh, yeah?
So a woman that wanted to ban you for speech is worried about the autocracy.
Yeah?
I mean, so that's that one. This one, an article in The Guardian. Why do Trump voters have no regrets? ? Because the people they hate are getting hurt more. It's like, where do you come up with? Most Trump voters do not hate anybody. They want everybody to have an opportunity. They don't want equal outcome. They want equal opportunity. And the left doesn't give you equal opportunity. This one, if it sounds like he wants a police state, it's because Trump does. Right? So and now this is from the people who wanted to take your job away if you wouldn't get a shot, wanted to take your health care away if you wouldn't get a shot. The same people that had that police state are worried that Trump wants a police state.
Yeah?
I mean, and this one from Salon, the fascist moment is here. Have mainstream liberals heard the alarm go off?
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys keep sounding it every week, but every week his popularity keeps going up. So maybe the liberals have, but everybody else is like, no, we'll take that. We'll take some normalcy and a guy that's alive and breathing and can walk off the stage without shaking hands with an imaginary figure.
Yep.
We'll take that.
We'll
double down on that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I watched this. So 3 million views. I didn't know you had an OnlyFans page.
No. It was on my Instagram page.
Yeah.
About sports bets.
Sports bets.
Yep.
Were you telling them how to bet? Did you take
It
the
was a
Lakers
comment.
last night?
I did.
You did take the Lakers.
I did. It was glorious.
Glorious.
It was glorious. I can't believe that Dallas gave Luka to the Lakers. Did you see what Nico, their GM, said? Did you see what he said?
Reese was talking to me about all this, and Ethan was telling me apparently somebody got in his head that that Luka wasn't going to be able to recover. He was overweight. He was past his prime. And so somehow they made this guy panic into a trade, and he panicked right into the Lakers' hands. That's the rumor that I heard.
Well, yeah. And he goes in front of the media the other day, and he goes, I didn't realize how much the fan base liked Luka. Why would you say that? First off, in an interview, that's terrible. now they're chanting "Fire Nico" at the games, and it's just I don't know. I really hope the Lakers win it all so Luka can just put it in their face.
Yeah.
It will be fun to watch him win. I'm not a huge LeBron fan, so I mean I'm kind of
outside of his off the court Twitter posts.
Just read the book. Just read a book. Quit flipping the pages. Just read the book. Show me that you read the book.
You have to admire what he does on the floor.
Oh, listen, at that age, blocking that shot the other night.
Yes. His head's at the rim. He's 41.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. Absolutely. But this is a credit to today's athletes that have stuck with it. Him being one, Steph being another one, all these guys that are playing later and later into their career. But they also have the advantage of health and fitness is so much better.
Oh yeah, the technology is way better.
And the technology's there, and the cryo chambers, and the ice, and the sauna, and the massage, and
the hyperbaric,
all of this stuff that Michael Jordan didn't have.
Correct.
Right, every bit of that. So, and the other thing is, I don't think these guys are partying the way that pro athletes partied. The ones that are going deep in their career. I think there are guys that are out there partying all the time, but their careers are cut short.
For sure.
Because you can't party after 82 games and beat your body up the way they do and expect it to come back year after year after year.
Yep.
So I give all of those guys incredible amount of credit for that. But yeah, it's just, he's the best flopper I've ever seen.
It's part of the game now, which stinks. I hate it. But I mean, Jokic just flopped last night trying to draw a charge. It was a joke.
Jokic?
Jokic.
Yeah. Who ran into him?
James Harden.
Oh, give me a.
He pivoted into him, and Jokic went like this, and threw himself into the scores table. Mike, it was hilarious.
I'm not buying that one at all.
And then he laid on the ground and held his stomach, and then they watched the replay back, and they're like, "That was a good try."
It was the beard. He got hit by the beard. All right, so I have one quick observation as to why Democrats will not do well in podcasting. All right, and
they're off to a great start.
Well, they
have no poker face based on Elizabeth Warren trying to defend her assessment of.
That was. I'll send you that link too.
It's funny.
They were asking her. It was an honest question from a liberal podcaster. When did you know he was declining? Well, everything I saw. He's like, no, I'm not buying this. You knew. When did you know? Well, he was walking. I mean, that was her thing. Well, he was still walking. And it's like, she didn't expect a tough question from this kid. And when he gave her the tough question, she completely fumbled it. She 100%. But my whole thing is, I don't think Democrats have the attention span. Everything that they are fed is this headline, right? The fascist movement is here. Have mainstream liberals heard the alarm go off? They read the headline. They don't read the context of it. They don't check anything. They don't do the research, right? I'm constantly amazed at stuff that my liberal friends will say and post based on a headline and not based on doing any actual research. If you grew up in the conservative movement, you grew up listening to Rush Limbaugh, you had 3 hours of information, and then you might go to somebody else and somebody else on the radio. The radio is turned into podcasting.
Yep.
People that listen to Joe Rogan or listen to anybody that's a right-leaning, Tim Pool, any of these guys, They listen for hours and they get information for hours. And it's not the same thing.
And then they research it.
Except for Sean Hannity, which is the same thing all the time. Not one of my favorites. Dems don't have that attention span. They have been trained to take in a short soundbite and parrot that, and they do not have the attention span needed to do critical thought in most cases. Not in all. I know some Democrats that go very deep into research, and I enjoy talking with them. Might disagree about the outcome of the research, but the majority of them will throw a headline at you, and there's no depth behind it. And then they want to throw an insult at you to raise them up and say, well, Levi, you're part of the manosphere, and that's why your opinion doesn't count. No, argue the facts with me. Let's have an actual
Let's have a
argument
debate.
about the facts. Let's have a debate, and you don't want to do that.
Update from Jessie B. She did her best to hide her age because she's living in her feminine energy. But I did find online she is at least in her 30s. So, you know, that's a little old to be acting like she knows everything in her 20s. Like, come on, girl, grow up.
So she's at least in her 30s.
She's at least in her 30s. From her own,
look,
on her buy everything I have linked in my pages page. She's at least in her 30s.
You got one chance to live your life. You can either live it miserable and mad at other people, or you can live it happy and engaging with other people. I chose the latter.
Well, you can also choose to focus on how you live your life and how you exist in the world, or you can try and make it your business how everybody else lives their life. And you're going to fail and you're going to be miserable if that's what you do.
I agree with you. You're almost all the way to the point, right? So if you're...
That is my nickname.
In my experience, if you're kind of happy with yourself, you're willing to let other people live their life the way they want to.
Yep.
If you're unhappy with yourself, you want to make other people miserable like you, and you want them to live exactly like you do to validate your life.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem, right? Yeah. So if a conservative turns on a show and they don't like the show, a conservative turns a channel. If a liberal turns on a show and doesn't like the show, they want it banned.
Yeah.
And that you can apply to almost everything across the board. It's been that way for the last 30 years with me. You know, to the point right now, we're arguing before the Supreme Court. If you don't want your children to be exposed to certain material in the classroom, there's a state arguing you can't opt out.
You're not allowed to opt out.
You're not allowed to opt out. Just think about it. This is the people who we just read the headlines about tyranny and fascism and autocracy. And no, you don't have the right as a parent in this state to take your kid out of class.
As we learn, distrust in institutions and not blindly showing allegiance to government organizations is a slippery slope to the alt-right. That's what Jessie B just told us. She's a former social worker.
In that case, she's 100% right. I believe we have a term for that, Jessie B. And one day, if you're lucky, you will be red-pilled as well. You will have your eyes opened and you will get out of the matrix.
She's going to end up falling in love with some right-leaning dude, and she's going to suddenly be a Republican trad wife. She already has the look. Just waiting for it.
So judgmental. So judgmental. So are you guys both Matrix fans?
Yeah, the movie?
Huge Matrix fans. So I was watching an interview last week with Degrassi, the scientist on CNN or one of those channels, Neil Tyson Degrassi.
I have beef with him.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, I have a lot of
Pluto. I don't like that dude.
Yeah, I have a lot of
Pluto.
I have a lot
Because
of beefs
he called
with
it a
him,
moon?
right?
Yeah.
But as a guy that can learn something from somebody I completely disagree with, he's a huge Matrix fan, and he was interviewing Lawrence Fishburne about the Matrix. And he thought he knew more about the Matrix than Lawrence Fishburne because he'd watched it a million times and Lawrence only acted in it once, right?
To be fair, a lot of actors have no memory about the movies that they're in.
Lawrence Fishburne did. And so it went through the biblical references within the Matrix. And there's a lot of them. Neo being the one, being the messianic figure. They talked about the very first time you meet Neo. He's asleep at his keyboard. Guy knocks on the door. He gives him a disc that he's hacked or whatever. And what does the guy say to him? He says, "You're my own personal Jesus." And I'm like, I didn't catch that reference.
I didn't catch that reference either.
Then later, Neo gets out of the Matrix. He's on the Nebuchadnezzar, the ship, and he can't sleep at night. And he walks up to Cypher and he scares Cypher. And Cypher, who ends up being the traitor, the Judas of the show, right, of the movie, says to him, "You scared the bejesus out of me." right? She kind of missed these. So they're going through a lot of those references. I mean, obviously.
When he also like dies, he's in the shape of a cross.
Mhm.
And then he comes back.
Yes. I mean, so many, but in Trinity, right? That being the name and the reference to the Trinity. I never could figure out the Morpheus character, right? I couldn't figure that out. So finally, Lawrence Fishburne looks at the scientist dude who we don't like and says, do you know who he was in the Bible? Who he was based on? Morpheus.
Yeah.
And I always had Morpheus as faith, Neo as hope,
John
and
the
Trinity
Baptist.
as love. John the Baptist.
John the Baptist.
John the Baptist. Yep. He was the one that went before
He's the
Jesus.
first one that recognized Jesus, and he
Yep.
recognized Jesus in the womb.
Yep.
I haven't seen this, but that's just who it has to be.
You've never seen the Matrix?
I didn't see this interview. I have seen The Matrix.
yeah.
I saw them in theaters because I'm old.
I saw him in theaters too. Did you watch the new one that came out a couple years ago, last year?
No, because I don't watch anything
Resurrection?
that Hollywood
Matrix Resurrection?
Hollywood releases
I
now.
watched it. I thought it wasn't a bad take. It took me a couple of times. Like I watched like 20 minutes of it and then I quit watching it and then it came on again and I watched like 30 minutes of it. And then finally said, okay, let me just see how this ends. And it did end better than I thought it was going to end, and it was okay. I didn't get why, until I watched that interview, why Neo had to die in the first trilogy. But then I got it once I kind of got deeper into that. Because for me, The Matrix, the first movie, was like an anti-1984. It was like, there is a way for humanity to beat the machine. There is a way for humanity to survive. And so I took that out of the first Matrix, not taking all of the biblical references. I got those as we got into 2 and 3 and that kind of stuff. But yeah, now I kind of, after that interview, I was like, okay, now I kind of get why I get the whole death and why he had to pass away.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot in there that's buried deep inside that.
Don't listen to the directors about what the story means now that, like, don't listen to recent interviews about what the story means. Maybe like contemporaneous, that's the word, interviews as the movies were releasing. They had better take on the movies then than they do now.
Yeah, and you know, some of that you wonder how much you do things, and later in life you look at it a little bit differently, right? I mean, that's just. I mean, we all have that within us. If you asked me my opinion of something I did 20 years ago today, I'm gonna have a different take on it than I had 2 minutes after it happened. So,
yeah, that's fair.
All right.
All right.
This is all right. We are going to be back next Tuesday.
Yes.
We have
a guest.
We have a guest. We have the wheel coming on. We have the owners of the wheel.
Try food?
I don't know if they're bringing it or not. I'm not going to ask. It's late in the day. But you got to go by there. Have you been by the wheel?
Oh yeah, I was there. Their opening day.
Yeah. How amazing.
Oh, so good.
It's so good. So they're coming
good.
next
I got
Tuesday.
the turkey rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what
They
I've
have an
always
Italian
gotten.
sub, right? You need to get an Italian sub.
You need to get the rider too.
Okay.
Turkey rider. That's
Turkey
been my
rider.
go-to since I was a kid.
Yes.
All right.
Yep. I'm telling you, it's absolutely amazing. So join us tomorrow for that. The morning show is on. Maybe big announcements, maybe not. Who knows what's going on in that morning show? Those crazy guys and girls, and who knows what's going on.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.